Hey, Johnny, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm really excited to show you about Ad Clarity today. And before we get started, I actually want to know more about you and your position, what you do, what your challenges are, what day-to-day activities you find that you can improve on, and stuff like that. So, do you mind telling me a little bit about your job and yeah, what you do?
Yes, of course. Okay, so my position here in the company is I am the head of marketing. My day-to-day role involves running different types of campaigns in order to obviously bring traffic and bring business to my clients. We're an agency, we're a network. Most of
No, no,
our
no. You're either an agency or a network.
the same thing.
You said no, they aren't. An agency is like an advertiser. So just say you're an advertiser.
Okay, so I'm an advertiser.
You're a brand. That's what you are.
I'm a brand. My brand is called Coca-Cola.
No, I work in a in a medium-sized travel industry company, and my role as the marketing manager is to figure out how to bring more people to our website, to increase the ROI, to get it to build a bigger audience, and to pretty much run our display campaigns correctly.
Yeah,
Is that okay that I put that in your
yeah,
mouth?
completely.
All right, that's fantastic. So everything you mentioned, actually, I can show you how Ad Clarity can help you reach those goals and even more.
Okay,
So let's get started, okay?
perfect.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I pulled up our Ad Clarity dashboard, and don't forget after this demo, you're going to have a free trial for a couple of days, and we also supply a ton of information and resources that will help you, that will guide you through using this system because there's so much information and so much potential for it that you really shouldn't miss out. So take advantage of all the videos and resources I'll be sending you, and don't forget, we're always here to help you with any questions you may have.
Great.
So you said that you were a small company in the travel industry, right?
Yes.
So the first thing that I would say that you should do, if you, not that if you're clueless, but if you want to figure out what you should be doing regarding your display advertising strategies, is seeing what your competitors or industry leaders are doing. In order to in order to because you do that, you see already what works, what doesn't, and this is bad, so take that part out, and so forth. Excuse me. So right now I'm going to show you, I'm pretty much starting over. This is the dashboard, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at one of your industry leaders. So let's say we want to see TripAdvisor. There's a couple of options of the way you can search for TripAdvisor. Um, if you didn't know you were looking for TripAdvisor, you can obviously go to the category analysis. You can choose from the category which one you like for travel, and it'll show you all the advertisers. Another way to do it is if you know exactly what kind of entity you're looking for, then you can click here and then type in the name. But I'm just going to show you a general search. So you type in TripAdvisor, and you're going to see that there's a list that comes down with options as a publisher, advertiser, campaign. And I'm interested in looking at TripAdvisor as an advertiser. So I'm just going to click on it, and immediately their profile page is going to appear. So the first thing we see on here is the geography bar. And what the geography bar does is it tells me in over 20 countries how many campaigns and how many publishers TripAdvisor is working with and running on each one of these countries. And something very cool is that I'm going to get into the explanation about what all of this means, but every single one of these countries, you could, so right now we're looking at the US. So we're looking solely at TripAdvisor's digital or display advertising strategy solely in the US. But let's say I wanted to look at what they're doing in Canada. I click on Canada and I get the same profile page. So everything we're going to be going over is applicable to every single one of the countries. So let's go back to the US. And one more thing I want to note before we get to the real meat of the page is the time span. You can look at campaigns, publishers, whatever you're interested in, from a span of 6 months to last week. So right now we're looking at TripAdvisor's display advertising strategy in the US. And we're going to scroll down and we're going to get to the main meat of the page. And on the left hand side, you're going to see a menu bar that says publishers. Uh, which shows a list of all the publishers they're working with. We have the campaigns, which shows a list of all the campaigns they're running. The mediators, which are ad networks, ad exchanges, SSPs, DSPs, all of the mediators they're working with, and all of the creatives they're using. Creatives are the banners, the text ads, stuff like that. I'm going to get into each one of these and delve into them to actually explain their purpose and what information and insights you can derive from them. So let's start with a publisher. The great part about the publishers is that first of all, you see that there's a list of over 9,400 publishers on here. This means that TripAdvisor, every single one of these publishers is one. Sorry, let me try again. TripAdvisor is working with every single one of these publishers, and by having a list of so many publishers, you know that you can find new publishers this way, because even though I'm sure you guys share a lot of the same publishers, like you guys may work with the same ones, you're going to find many that you don't work with. And by doing so, you get to find new traffic sources and extend your reach. Something you need to always remember is that because we're looking at TripAdvisor and they're in your industry, every single one of these publishers is relevant to your target audience because they're also targeting your audience. So all of these publishers are relevant for you. So, in one easy step, you already found a way to find new traffic sources and extend your reach. You can filter all of these publishers. I don't, whatever, the estimated impressions I think is bullshit, so don't get into that. You can filter it by the number of impressions, the share of voice, and the number of campaigns. And something that I find really, really interesting here is looking at the publisher's share of voice. What this means is that TripAdvisor is spending a majority of their display ad budget on the tripadvisor.com, which is also a publisher. You can use American Express and it'll show you a different publisher. What the share of voice, the publisher's share of voice does is it shows you where they're investing the most ad spend in. And if I look at the top 10, I know that these sites are bringing in the best results for them. And the reason I know this is because TripAdvisor wouldn't be spending a majority of their ad budget or such a high percentage of all their ads on sites that don't work. So you know for sure that these publishers will be bringing in good results for you. And right away, you've eliminated the need to do A B testing on publishers. And I'm sure, as you know, as somebody who works in media, it can take months to figure out if a publisher brings in results or not. So rather than wasting time and resources trying to figure that out, by looking at what worked for TripAdvisor, remember that they already did their A B testing and they already got their results. So you work off their successes. You already know what works, and right away you can implement a campaign that will bring in results because you know the publishers are effective. But if you another really cool thing on the publishers is that you
Can
can,
I just do one
yeah,
question? You've explained what the publisher's share of voice
the
was.
share of voice on the publisher is really hard to explain, but it's what it is that on TripAdvisor, 32.81% of the ads on TripAdvisor are from TripAdvisor. Let's pretend this is CNN.
Yeah,
32.81% of the ads on CNN belong to TripAdvisor.
fine.
It's figure out a way to say it in a sentence is really hard.
Yeah, okay, fine. That's what I
Okay.
maybe got confused with.
So
So
I focus on publishers'
the
share
publisher's
voice
share of voice
is what you care about.
is what, and what that's telling me is that is showing me that I can't think of how to spell it.
TripAdvisor,
Yeah,
just think TripAdvisor is spending 45.60% of all their
what's the
ads
budget
on
on
here.
TripAdvisor? Okay, on that campaign.
TripAdvisor is spending 8.89% of all their
Yeah,
ads on here. Just do a triangle. TripAdvisor, publisher, and then go to the publisher name. Right?
yeah. One sec.
No worries.
Share of voice. So TripAdvisor is spending 45.6%.
I wouldn't even say of their ad budget, or 45.50% of all of their ads and campaigns on TripAdvisor.com.
Campaigns Okay, cool.
I'm actually going to delve even more in depth because although this gives me a good view, I actually want to see the relationship, the direct relationship between these publishers and TripAdvisor. I want to know more. I want to know what campaigns they're running with these publishers and so forth. And I could do that quite easily. So let's go to Airfare Watchdog. And All I do is click on the arrow on the right hand side and a mini profile appears. And this mini profile shows me it shows me the relationship between Airfare Watchdog and TripAdvisor. It shows me not only the number of campaigns that they're running on Airfare Watchdog, not only the publisher's share of voice, the advertiser's share of voice, it gives me an actual list of every single one of the campaigns that TripAdvisor is running on Watchdog, the first and last detected date, the deployment chain, which I'll get to in a moment, and most importantly, I actually see which pages on Airfare Watchdog they're using. The reason that this is important for me is now I know because I know exactly what pages TripAdvisor is advertising on under the domain, I'm able to know where I need to place my ad in order to outbid them and in order to show my ad before theirs. I'm not just placing it anywhere. I want to place it and outbid my competitors and beat them. I want my ad to be shown, not theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So here you get a list of the exact pages that all of the campaigns and ads are running on.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Sorry, I'm trying to think about the deployment chain really quick. Give me 1 second. I got a little confused. I don't know if it's better to do the campaign or this way. Publishers. No, I can do it. Okay. Right here, you're going to see an option to get more clarity. And whenever you see the circle, it means that it's going to open up another profile page like we saw in the beginning. This one is specific for the campaign. So if you want to get an in-depth look at this campaign, you click here. But you're going to have an option to do that with the actual campaign. So I'll go into that in a moment and I'll show you how to do it.
Okay.
So do you understand the mini profile and
I
everything
think
so
so.
far?
Yeah.
Okay, if you have any questions, go ahead and interrupt me at any time.
Okay.
The next item on the list is the campaigns. And once again, these are every single one of the campaigns that TripAdvisor is running. It shows you can filter it by the amount of publishers they're running on, the share of voice, which means 55% of TripAdvisor's campaigns is this campaign.
Okay.
The first and last time detected, and the estimated impressions. And there's actually quite a bit of information here. First of all, you can look by the first time and last time detected and see the time span. And if this campaign has been running for a really long time and it's active, you know it's successful. Oftentimes, you can see campaigns that have been running for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and you know those are failed campaigns. Those are their A/B testing. You have to make sure though that you look at the campaign to make sure it's not a seasonal and that it is a performance or direct based campaign. So you can do all that, and obviously by filtering it by share voice to see which campaigns are most successful, you can get ideas for your own campaigns and your own types of messaging. And right now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a really in-depth look at specific campaigns to see how it can help us. So I'm going to look at because the majority of TripAdvisor's campaigns are the similar hotel TripAdvisor campaign. I want to take a look at this, and I'm going to get clarity. And right away, it's going to pull me up to the profile page for that specific campaign. And I can see every single country they're running it on, how many publishers they're working with with each country for that specific campaign. Don't forget, we're just focused on the US. And right here, for this campaign, I get a list of all the publishers that TripAdvisor is running the similar hotels campaign on. And hold on 1 second. This is the pages and the publishers, the same thing that you saw earlier. This is really not yet necessary. That's why I'm nervous. Okay, so now that you're looking at this exact campaign, you once again get a list of publishers, okay? And once again, you can filter it according to different parameters. Once again, we're interested in the share of voice. Which publisher is bringing in the best results for that campaign? Oh my gosh, I see that TripAdvisor, which we're going to call CNN right now, CNN is where they're advertising where this campaign is getting the most, where they're spending, where this campaign is being run on the most. And I noticed that I look at the dates and I can tell that this is a very successful campaign because it's been running for a long time. Something else that really interests me is I can go in and get an actual in depth look. Oh, this is a bad campaign. I'll tell you why in a second.
Use
The
something
deployment
else.
chain is direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want this or something. That's okay. All right, maybe I'll pick a different campaign to do. This won't confuse you when you listen
No,
to it
no,
right
no,
now.
no,
Okay.
no, no.
I'm actually, Johnny, for your reference, I'm going back and I'm going to pick a different campaign because I need to find one that has different mediators. So let me just see if Los Angeles Hotels and Deals, I'm once again opening up the profile page for
It's the
that specific
campaign.
campaign.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do, so here we see that this campaign, it's being advertised on the most on kayak.com. I'm going to click on the arrow and I'm going to get pulled up to the mini profile.
No.
And the thing that's very interesting for me here, hold on, let's just hope this works. No, 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 I didn't want that. No, I didn't want that. Why are you doing this? Jewish Journal, how funny. Okay,
Okay.
this is still not a good
Okay,
example.
but I understand what I know what you're going to say anyway.
Okay, when you get more clarity on a campaign and you go to their mini report, once again, you see the exact pages in that domain that this campaign is running on. You'll see the first and last detected date to tell you, like, here we see January 13th to January 21st. Um, I because it's a deal or a special, I don't know if it was a temporary one. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so you got to look. But here we see that's been running for 5 months. So I'm assuming that these ones were either not effective on those
Or A/B
pages,
tested.
or not effective, which is told through A/B testing, or that they were just special seasonal deals.
Right.
Okay, my most interesting aspect, in my opinion, the most interesting aspect of this page is the deployment chain. And what the deployment chain does is it shows you how many mediators, which we define a mediator as an ad exchange, ad network, DSP, how many mediators it took to get from the advertiser to the publisher. Oftentimes you'll see right now you're just seeing a double click to Google Ad Services. Many times you'll find the mediators that there will be a list of 6 or 7, and every single one of those mediators is taking a chunk of your money. There are several things you can do with the knowledge of understanding the deployment chain. Firstly, if you see a publisher that you want to work with, you uncover the deployment chain and you find the mediator that works the most closely with that publisher, that has a direct relationship with that publisher. Skip over all those other mediators, work with the mediator that has the direct relationship with the publisher, and you just saved yourself a ton of money. Um, Not only that, but oftentimes you can go and kind of QA and check up your own campaign's deployment chain. And we've had several instances where people saw that they were actually buying twice from the same mediator. Doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
You understand a bit more.
Now we're going to look at the mediators that are associated with this campaign. What does this mean? Which mediators, let's see, it's only two. Which mediators is DoubleClick using to launch this campaign? This isn't going to be interesting again because the deployment chain is going to be only Google Ad Services or Direct or whatever. Give me a second. See, it's not interesting.
No, no. Well, okay. So wait a second. I would be telling them to contact this one, wouldn't I?
No, I don't. I forgot where the publisher is. The publisher is here.
Yeah. So the publisher's here. So I would say contact. You want to contact DoubleClick direct rather than go through Google
Yeah,
Ads.
although I think they're the same thing. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. I know.
So you'll see like a different
Yeah.
ton of
Yeah.
different
Okay.
names,
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get to the really good stuff, and don't forget we're still only looking at the campaign page. Um, every campaign can have a ton of different types of creatives, and by creatives I mean the ads. And when you click on creatives, you can filter the creatives according to different types. You can have a banner, rich media, pop over, pop under, and text ads. What we're going to look at is banner ads. And the reason this is so interesting for me is because this one campaign has 64 different types of creatives that's getting used on. And each one of them is different somehow. They have a different size, they have different messaging, they have different images. And once again, I can filter it by share of voice to see which creative is actually bringing in the best results. And by doing this, I'm able, like, by being able to see what creatives are using, I know what kind of call to action I need to put on, what I need to put on the banner. I need to know what the messaging is. I need to know how the design and the layout is. But that's not the end of it. When you click on a banner, it goes to a landing page, right? And so, luckily for us, we have a direct link to the landing page when you click on that creative. Here, you can see because this campaign is so successful, this creative is so successful, this means that the landing page is very successful too. And here you can check out what their landing page looks like, what the design is, what the call to action, and what they're offering. And make sure that you can design your own landing page if your campaign is similar, that your own landing page kind of takes on the same look and feel. For your designers, if you do want to work off of these kinds of banners and just build off the successful ones, we have an option to export all of the creatives. It'll be sent to you in an email. You can send it straight to your designer, and they can work right off the creatives. So we're going to go back to TripAdvisor's profile page just to look at the last to go over we have two more items on the menu of mediators and creatives. Don't forget, this isn't a campaign right now. We're looking at TripAdvisor's overall. Okay? So, right now, this is the one that I wanted to show you. Right now, we're looking at all the mediators that TripAdvisor is working with for all their campaigns and all their publishers. And I can see that they're working the most with DoubleClick and Google Ad and Datomi, the number of campaigns they're running with each mediator. But once again, you can find out, you can uncover, you can get more in depth on each mediator. And this is where something really cool happens. So I see that they're working with mediator, and I see exactly how many which campaigns they're running on, the actual URL of that campaign, the landing page. But not only that, I once again get to see the deployment chain. And here I see that they have App Nexus. They have one. Do you see this? Yeah, I click. Okay. Do you see how many? Do you see that they're going through like 7 mediators? Imagine cutting all of them out and just going directly through App Nexus. You've cut out 6 mediators. You've just saved a ton of money. And once again, there have been instances that, like, you'll see this EMG CD right here, and you'll say like, oh my gosh, I'm buying twice from the same one. So you can also look at the mediators and see, um, look their campaign list, and then get the deployment chain that way as well. Lastly, we're going to be looking at the creatives. And this is a list, just like the campaigns creatives that you could get it filtered by the different types. This is a list of all the different creatives that TripAdvisor is running on their overall strategy, every campaign on every publisher. So once again, I'm going to go to banner ads. And unlike what I previously showed you, that was for a specific campaign. Now I have a multitude of campaigns. I have unlimited campaigns. And I get all of the banner ads. I have over 19,000 examples and ways to get inspiration for my own design. I'm able to see the size that works best, which campaign it actually is associated with, the share of voice, which means which one is bringing in the best results, and it takes me to the link to the landing page, which we saw previously. It's freezing. Yeah. Um, I really Personally, I really like this because I know in our marketing department, we like to look at other competitors or industry leaders, and we like to see what their banner ads look like to get ideas for our own. And we get ideas from them for the call to action, the messaging, the design, the layout, the look and feel. And that's really what you're supposed to do, because the creative matters so much, because you have one first impression. Like, one first impression, you got to make sure it's good, and you got to make sure it's on target. Um, so yeah, this is an overall view, and pretty much what you do by uncovering your competitors' online strategies is you start the race about 10 miles ahead of them. While they just figured out the results from their A/B testing, and now they're just launching things slowly and correctly, you already know what works and what doesn't based on the results of their A/B testing. You haven't wasted any time, you haven't wasted any money. You've pretty much eliminated the need to A/B test, and you have gained a ton of ROI. And what you can do with this stuff is you can do a lot. First of all, with the publishers, because you found a list of new publishers, now you have money to work with them and disperse your resources amongst a larger breadth of publishers. Or if you found publishers that you really want to work with that your competitors are using, because you know exactly which page those campaigns are running on, now that you have the resources, you can outbid them. You can use those resources to outbid your competitors.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. There's only one thing that you didn't tell me about the follow in the show.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
But yeah, I know how to explain that.
Okay. Oh, do you want me to do it real quick?
No, I
Because I
actually
can do in
see.
two
Do you
sentences.
know what I realise now? And this is what I've just realised just in this one that when I'm looking at an advertiser, I have to go into the campaign. I've never done that.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'll just go through the list. I'll go through TripAdvisor. I'll go. This is publishers. This is campaigns. This is media.
You
This is
have to
this.
go in depth to every single one.
I know. So what I should do is I should type in the publisher. Once the publisher comes in, I start off with the publisher,
The
and then
advertiser. You type in the
sorry,
advertiser.
sorry. I type in the advertiser, and then I start off with the publishers tab,
Yeah.
and then what? When you started off with the publishers tab, did you go? Did you
I know. The first thing I
just
did,
go back to it for 1 second? Go to publishers. Right. Let's say we start off
what
with
I did was I explained what every single thing is, and I
yeah.
said, but you can even get a more in depth look and see the relationship between this publisher and this advertiser.
Perfect. That's what I wanted. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, the